Good morning from Inverness. When I wanted to start this video, when I was planning it, I was going to say how lucky I was because it is windy, it is chilly, but it is sunny. Or at least it was sunny because the weather here is crazy. Now, the sun is coming out again, but it was raining up until half an hour ago. Then it became completely sunny and now it's partly cloudy. I'd say, at least that's what the weather forecast says for the whole day, but it doesn't matter. I got my North Face jacket even though it's the middle of the summer. And anyway, most importantly, I got my rented bike, this mountain bike right here. You probably don't know Dores, most of you probably don't know, but you surely know Loch Ness, and Dores is the main village on the shore of Loch Ness, and this is where I'm going to ride today. I have to say it was really easy finding a place to hire the bike from. There are so many here in Inverness just because riding a bike is such a popular activity here in Inverness, and especially around Inverness. There was a shop right next to my hotel and it was actually quite a good deal. It was £20 for the whole day. It was a flat fare. The only thing is, now of course I'm probably the only tourist in Inverness right now because Scotland just reopened. At the shop they told me that they normally operate from 8 AM to 10ish PM 7 days per week, but for today it's a Saturday and I'm supposed to bring the bike back before 4 o'clock. Now, I do have a map, of course. I was given a map and I also have internet and I can always check it out on Google Maps, but I think it would be like more adventurous if I just went out and basically get to Loch Ness by myself. I sort of know the direction. I'm supposed to go west, as the pet shop boys used to say. Oh, there's a guy in the river. I wonder what he's doing. He's fishing. There's a guy fishing on the river. Is that Ness Island already?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Should I just continue down this way? This way, this side. Okay, so I should just continue here. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. I think I'm actually on the right trail because this is Wind Park, which is coincidentally where I am now. As you can see, Wind Park. So this is exactly the trail that I'm supposed to follow. So I should just go right here, continue on this bank of the river, and then I cross it towards Home Mills, and then I do this all the way Scunnyport. I need to look for this roundabout at Scunnyport. I think I still have a long way to go until Scunnyport, but anyway, I will have to turn left so I can go on the bike route, which is less dangerous for bikes, because this is just for bikes and it's not shared with cars. And then I do this all the way to Dores. Okay, I see a Dores road right here. I guess that's where I'm going. I got to a roundabout here, but this is not the one yet that I think I should be turning left to go onto the bike route, the proper bike route anyway. But the reason why I stopped is that I want to show you something interesting, because you see, there are quite some interesting places here. First of all, you see, if you go right, you go to Fort William. And Fort William is the one that I told you about earlier, which is right on the other side of Scotland, on the west coast. And I told you about the Caledonian Canal, which is basically the combination of water streams and bodies of water that connect Inverness all the way to Fort William on the west coast of Scotland, effectively making an island out of the northernmost part of Scotland. On the other hand, if we continue straight, we go to Dores, which is the place on the shore of Loch Ness that I want to go to. And coincidentally, you also see Scottish Gaelic. You see it's bilingual, the sign is bilingual. On this side, you see Aberdeen, which is quite famous, which is one, along with Edinburgh, Glasgow, and Inverness, is one of the most populated, one of the largest cities in Scotland, basically. On the other hand, you can continue down to Perth, not far from Edinburgh, an hour away north of Edinburgh. Whereas if you see Thurso, well, it's the northernmost town in Scotland. And not many people know about it, but you can take the train. That was my original plan for this trip before going back to Italy, going all the way to Thurso, on the northernmost tip of Scotland, and from there you could take the ferry to the Orkney Island, the main island, the Kirkwall Island, where also the legendary village of Twat, with 2 T's, is located. So that's a little bit of Scottish geography for you. In the town of Italy where Ferrari is located, you have prancing horses in the middle of roundabouts in the town. Whereas here, not far from Loch Ness, you have Nessie sitting proudly in the middle of the roundabout, not far from Inverness. And by the way, this is, after all, the roundabout where I'm supposed to turn left, even though you see cyclists continuing straight to Dores. I see the sign here pointing left for bikes. Is it just me, or this branch right here looks like Nessie? What do you think? It does, right? So right there it says Inverness that way 3 miles, Dores 5 miles that way. So I'm not even halfway through and I still got 5 miles to do. Sorry, I know it's windy, but this is also where the scenery starts getting interesting. Look at this. I'm not kidding, this could actually be exactly the spot where Windows developers shot the famous picture, the picture that became famous as the wallpaper disk saver for Windows XP. I'm kidding. I'm pretty sure it was something in Washington, might be. Also because Windows, or rather Microsoft, is based in Seattle, so it makes sense. But this definitely looks like it. Look at this. The thing is, of course, riding in Liverpool as I'm used to. The terrain there, the ground is flat for the most part, but here, I mean, there is a reason after all as to why people refer to them as the Scottish Highlands, right? So this is a little bit more difficult than I was anticipating, and that's mainly because of the steepness. Oh man, this is a tight turn. Now there it says 1 mile to Dores, but you remember when I showed you the sign pointed to Dores with a 5 next to it, 5 miles. But that wasn't that long ago. I said that was 20 to 30 minutes ago. There's no way I covered 4 miles in that time frame. Man, it's so windy, it's insane. But as you see over there, for the first time, I'm looking at the body of water of Loch Ness. But it's so windy already now, I can only imagine how windy it's going to be on the shore. Indeed my final destination, Dores Inn. There should be a bar, restaurant, probably get something to eat there, and also I have to go to the beach there. But yeah, this is it, Loch Ness. Do you think it's fine if I go for a walk and then come back, or you have bookings or no problem? Okay, thank you.
At this point, I just have to rely on voiceovers because the wind was just too ridiculous. After not even an hour of riding my rented bike, I arrived to the closest shore of Loch Ness from Inverness, right by the beach of the village of Dores. I decided to try some not too overpriced fish and chips at the restaurant, but I have to say having lunch there was quite miserable because everything was flying off and sitting there by the water was also kinda cold. As I mentioned, they also reopened a couple of days prior to my visit, but still a considerable amount of visitors were present. The shingle beach of Dores was a different kind of beach from the likes of Barcelona, Miami and Bali. For me, standing there was fascinating on its own because of the history of that place. History with a line of separation from mythology and folklore that over time became progressively thinner. Of course, people on the internet usually argue that Loch Ness is an okay lake, and there are much better ones in the Scottish Highlands, and they all have the same number of monsters as Loch Ness. But the thought of the existence of a mythical creature that for so many years had scientists and explorers discuss and search for it, in hope for worldwide recognition and glory, was after all the reason that I decided to base myself in Inverness for a few days. And I know for a fact that I'm not the only one feeling this way, as many people come to the area every year.
Now, can you see there the true monsters of Loch Ness? Hi there! Now this is one of the boats that explorers, enthusiasts and just people, random people would go out on the Lake Ness to go out and search for the Loch Ness monster. People who died, people who gave up after years of searching in vain for a monster that probably never existed. We see here pink flowers with bees, and you know, Scotland, at least the Highlands, are really famous for its midges, which are basically really small insects which can be really annoying because they can bite. And it's not just the bite the problem, but it's more like they assault you in groups of thousands, and that's why they're really annoying. But that's more like a problem for the west coast of Scotland. Of course, Inverness is on the east coast, on the other side, so that's where it's not as much as a problem in the area surrounding Loch Ness as opposed to other areas.
Sure, believing in the existence of a large, long-necked monster with a couple of humps protruding from the water is now as far-fetched as ever. But, like with many other things in life, it reveals the fascinating aspect of the joy and illusion of expectation that must come to an end once the harsh truth is discovered, as all sweet dreams and expectations of youth turn into bitter disillusion. That said, it's definitely important for the local community to keep the myth going. Tourism is valuable, so why not having tourists fly in from all over the world and pay some good old cash to search for the legendary Nessie? If you enjoyed riding with me to Loch Ness today, please consider subscribing for other travel-related videos.